Okay, so thank you everyone for being here today to our best practices session, the summer edition with PAC certified professionals. We're so happy to have everybody here. Today's session is going to be recorded. The CEU is only eligible for live participants, so thanks for being here, and you will be rewarded handsomely with one CEU. But we do like to record it so that other folks, other certified professionals can at least get the benefit of listening and also sharing if somebody wasn't able to make it. We know that things can come up occasionally in the pet care centers. So we want to make sure everybody can take advantage of this best practices session. But if you are with us today, you will earn one CEU, and we will give you that code here in a bit. So if you can, we're using a bit of a different format today. I have allowed everybody to unmute themselves as you're coming in. I've unmuted you, but you still have to unmute yourself if you want to talk. So feel free to unmute yourself at any time. Again, these sessions are all about sharing, so don't be shy at all. Okay, Jamie, anything else that you think that we need to go over? You're my kind of right-hand woman there. Is that everything before we get started, you think?
Yeah, I think that's everything I can think of as well. I'm so excited for this topic. It's one of my favorites.
Yeah. So we PAC kind of organized the best practices sessions. If you were at IBPSA.
Hey, hi there.
Hello, who was that?
Guys, I know.
I think that's Rachel. I think her client is coming in.
Okay, got it. Yeah, I'm glad Rachel's here. I think she can add a lot. Hopefully she'll be done with her client soon, but hopefully she can add some to the grooming aspect of this. So if you were at IBPSA, PAC organized or moderated the best practices sessions at IBPSA, and there were so many great topics there, and they were super successful events. So we just love the idea of like-minded professionals getting together, sharing ideas, and elevating all of us. And so some of those ideas did come from the success that PAC and IBPSA had with those sessions there. So let me advance the slide here. And if I can. Okay, so here are the topics for today. Add-on services for lodging dogs. And I guess we don't necessarily have to limit it to lodging dogs. So if you have an add-on services for your daycare clients or your dog walking clients, please feel free to add those in. One of the things that PAC has been so excited about this year is branching out into things or into businesses other than dog daycare and lodging. So if you have add-on services or activities in your grooming center, in your dog walking business, in your animal shelter, you're probably not charging if they're in the animal shelter, but we welcome any ideas there. The second topic is heat safety for humans and canines. Such an important thing to kind of review and remind ourselves of as summer comes along, of the how to keep our play yards safe for both humans and canines. And perhaps maybe the biggest challenge is the third topic, keeping the team sane and also happy during the summer rush. It can be very challenging, very tiring at times. How do we keep the team members morale up and keep them happy and also safe during that summer rush? So again, if you're here, if you've popped in a little bit late, I am unmuting everybody as you come in, but you still have to unmute yourself in order to talk. If you're having a hard time figuring out how to unmute yourself, just put something in the chat box and I can help you. Any suggestions on where we want to start? Do we want to start with add-on services since that's the front, or does anybody else have a topic that they definitely want to get to first?
Well, hi there. This is Kathy Brooks from the Hydrant Club in Las Vegas. And with the heat We are already at 85 degrees, going to 98 degrees here today, and have already been in the triple digits. So I'm a big fan of heat.
That sounds good. Kathy, where are you?
So Las Vegas, Nevada.
Okay. Yeah, so it's quite hot there. Yeah, so what are some of the ideas or things that you put into place that keep the humans and or dogs safe?
Well, for us, it's about protection and prevention, right? So for the staff, making sure clothing-wise that they're wearing the right clothing, sunblock, hydration, kind of keeping them cool and safe as we move in and out of our indoor and outdoor spaces during the weather. But especially when we're looking at, for the dogs, especially for the brachycephalic breeds, the snub muzzled breeds in the hot weather, really metering the amount of time that is spent outside. We've got a lot of shade trees and real grass. We're a little unusual that way, but really making sure that we're keeping them in shade, using cool washcloths when we bring the dogs inside, kind of wrapping cool washcloths around their paws and on their bellies to kind of help keep them cool. And we also use, rather than deep water bowls where dogs might gulp at too much water, and then you have issues like bloat and torsion that could happen. We actually have kind of long, wide, shallower pans of water. So it, by definition, kind of enforces just kind of lapping at the water to keep them hydrated in the hot weather.
I love it. I love it. And when it comes to, you mentioned those dogs that are a little bit more susceptible to the heat. Do you find it challenging to explain to the pet parents why their time might be limited outside, or they might have a bit more, crate time or indoor time? How do you handle those conversations?
That's a great question. And, as far as our members, our club members are concerned, one of the things that we pride ourselves on, we always say that we're part of team, hashtag whatever the dog's name is, that we are as responsible for the dogs as the owners are, especially in the time that we have them. A lot of our clients are people who have moved to Las Vegas, some of them from cooler climates. And so really educating people about the importance of, foot protection for their dogs in the summer, and why in the hot summer months it's important to get out before sunrise. Really keeping them informed, and they know that everything we do, nothing is arbitrary, that all the rules and regulations that we have in place, the protocols we have in place, have one thing in mind only, and that is the welfare of the pet. We may maybe even over communicate with our owners, so that if we have say a brachycephalic dog, bulldog, pug, and the like, we will actually keep the owner updated through the day if it appears that even our efforts for regulating their temperature aren't really working. We're super mindful of those dogs, making sure that, we're looking at, blood return to the gums. We're looking at the color of their tongue, kind of the pattern of their,
Did we lose you, Kathy?
Maybe.
Yeah.
I think my status just changed. I think I was just asked to be a panelist rather than an attendee, so that may have, can you hear me?
Okay, I guess Zoom promoted you.
Yes.
I just got promoted. My day just got exponentially even more good than it already was. Yeah, but really, I feel like it is our responsibility, that, here, wait, hold on, I'm going to turn on my video also. Is my video on or off? Hold on. There we go. I had to pick up, hopefully you can see me now. I've got some dogs that I had to get at the groomer. So really for us, it's about information is power.
Yeah.
Information allows, we provide the owners with as much information as we can. And then if the owner says, I really want my dog playing outside more, then I can give them the choice to take their dog somewhere else.
Mhm.
You know, that here are the choices we are making and here's why we're making them. They're not arbitrary. We're not trying to be rude. We're not trying to be mean. We're not trying to short shift you on services. We're not trying to charge you and then not give you what you're supposed to get. That here's why we're doing what we're doing. And because we have real grass and big shade trees, we actually get to use our outdoor space quite a lot in the summer between that and the pools that we have out. But we're still pretty mindful. I mean, when it gets to be, 105, 110, sometimes 120, just nobody should be outside.
Yeah.
Nobody, human or dog. So getting the dogs out to go to the bathroom, getting them inside, and then getting their temperatures regulated as quickly as possible is really important for us.
Right. Yeah, I love that. Thanks for sharing
Sure.
all those ideas, Kathy. That's great. And you don't feel obligated to have your camera on if you're if you're driving. Don't want any accidents to happen. Great way to kick it off though, with heat safety. Who else is in a hotter environment or has something to share about heat safety?
Jess, we're not in a hot environment here in Canada necessarily, but we can get into triple digits certainly in the summertime. And with very high humidity because we're near the ocean. So having said that, kind of, one of our best practices in the summertime for that kind of combine the bottom two, the heat safety and the keeping the team sane, we bring out like the slip and slide and we let the humans play on it too with the dogs. So, to kind of lay that along the turf or whichever. And of course you're hosing down the turf and to make sure that no paws get too hot and things like that. But the staff really quite enjoy doing the sprinklers and the slip and slides. And we prefer the slip and slide and the sprinklers to the hose because we don't want to give the dogs too much water and stuff. But the team loves it when it's slip and slide day and they just go and they get it and they hook it up to the hose and they play with the dogs out there and they're cool and the dogs are cool. And then it certainly it certainly makes for a really fun day. Of course, you do have to be mindful when you bring them back into the air conditioning and stuff like that the dogs don't get too cold too quick. But that I think that comes just with what we do as certified professionals in the industry, being mindful of all of those things. And I get that. But if you're looking for something fun to do, I guess my staff just love it. And
yeah, so you're covering topic number 2 and topic number 3.
I thought I'd just kick it off with trying to deal with all of them. And you know what? If you wanted to charge for a slip and slide day, you can do all 3.
I was just gonna say that. That's great. Yeah, what a great idea, the slip and slide. That sounds like super fun. So Stephanie mentioned artificial turf. And when I had my pet care center, it was a constant challenge trying to keep that turf cool on those really hot days, the parts that weren't under shade. Anybody got any suggestions for that other than shade and hosing it down? Just curious if anybody's come up with something different there. Or is it just the old school way? And then of course you do have to unmute yourself. I've allowed you to unmute. But before you talk, you have to unmute yourself as well.
And Jess, I think, I'll just kind of add to that and answer your question. When we do our pool placement, we get our little doggy pools or whichever, we strategically place those around different places, different areas of the turf because we fill them so frequently. When we go to empty it over the course of the day, every area of that turf is really kind of being saturated with water.
Yeah.
Meaning it's not just topical and then it evaporates. It's actually goes through to the, the bottom of the turf or whichever and keeps it a little bit cooler, a little bit longer.
Yeah.
I guess. So we kind of let our pools do some of the work for us so that we're not just spraying on top and having the heat of the turf just pretty much absorb the water.
Great idea. Thank you.
Hey, Steph, I have a question. It's Ellen Adlam in Alaska. I have a
Hey.
question. How often are you emptying your pools?
Probably once every 20 minutes.
Oh, holy cow, you're doing that a lot.
You know what, for a couple of different reasons. So half of some of our yards are fully turfed and some are half and half, like with half
Right.
natural grass and half turf.
Right.
So the dogs can get off of the turf periodically and like into like real grass or into a wooded area. And we're fortunate that way, but recognizing not everybody has that. But because we do have some natural grass, the water in the doggy pools can get hot or
Right.
dirty. They can get dirtier faster than if it was all turf. So
Right.
we empty those and clean them out, rinse them out and refill them quite often because we take a lot of pictures, right? In the daycare yard, you don't want
Right.
dirty water.
Well,
So
and
it's
the
kind of
problem-
self-serving.
the problem that we run into, and maybe it's just but you're in the same sort of area, but it becomes this mosquito breeding ground when you have standing water. Just drives me berserko. And plus it's not hot enough really here that we have to worry about that. But I just wondered, because my staff's always saying, oh, we should get pools. And I feel like it would be a big pain in the neck for me, but maybe not so much. But now I'm hearing you're emptying a lot. So I'll just have to think about how that feels. But do you run into issues with mosquitoes? Because gosh, we sure do.
Well, I mean, no more than anywhere else.
Okay.
Is what I can say. Like our daycare environment or our facility environment doesn't have any more mosquitoes than anywhere else if I were to go into town or if I were to go wherever. So
Okay.
I don't think they're breeding. I don't think I don't think it's causing a breeding ground. But yes, we do have mosquitoes because we live in Canada. So
Right. I think
We
share
don't
the biggest
have,
mosquitoes.
Hi, this is Kathy again. We actually don't have a mosquito issue being, in the desert. Although we do have some mosquitoes now, which is
I
weird. but
hate
we
you a
only live
little
in
bit
the
for
city.
that.
Yeah. You know what? When it's 120 degrees here, you'll hate me less. But
Like last time I was in Vegas, I had to stand in line at a clinic to get a COVID test in order to come back to Canada, and the soles of my shoes actually physically melted to the sidewalk.
Yeah,
Oh,
it's been known to
gee.
happen. It's been known to happen. So for us, especially because I took a parking lot and turned it into a park. So we've got, these large trees that they're large now because they're 10 years older. So we have a lot of birds and things. And for us, it's less about mosquitoes than it is about when we go inside, the birds use the pools. Like, so we have birds that'll come down and there's all sorts of avian borne stuff, bird poop, the things that they carry. We've got a lot of mockingbirds, so they're bringing a lot of things in. So for us, we're dumping the pools and actually scrubbing them out and refilling them anytime we go in and out, which is frequently. So one of our issues, I had wanted to put in a pool period, and because of water conservation, they wouldn't let me. But I'm waiting to see, if the water district shows up on my doorstep this summer, because Lake Mead is at all-time lows, and there's such a water restriction around here. It'll be interesting to see if we're able to continue with our pool use the way we have.
One thing I wanted to add, since we're on the topic of pools, and especially Ellen, I think you mentioned you were thinking about adding pools, is to remember that if you have things like kiddie pools, always find a way to secure them at the end of the day. And that doesn't mean just propping them up against the fence. You need to have a way to secure them, because there have been instances of empty pools falling on top of little dogs. And if there's no, attendance taken at the end of the day, that can have some pretty poor results. So just remember, adding the pool, it's a lot of fun and you should do it, but always thinking about those strange things that can happen. Accidents happen all the time. So not only emptying the pools, but securing them so that they can't fall on little dogs. So just keep that in mind too, as you're adding those pools in.
Not only that, but if you lean really anything against like your fencing or anything, it gives the dog a leg up to potentially jump over.
Exactly. Yeah. So we
Yeah,
always.
and I there was a particular story in Florida a couple of years ago about and I think this also just speaks to dogs being attended at all times. Also, that there was I think it was an English bulldog that was in a outdoor yard by itself. The pools were propped up against the wall. The dog decided to play with the pool. It flipped over because the ground was wet. They kind of like suction cupped onto the dog. And it was a hot day and it was a bulldog, and it didn't take long, you know, for the unthinkable to actually happen.
Yeah.
I think that securing any equipment, I think it's just a good cautionary reminder, whether it's pools or a slip and slide or hoses or rakes and shovels or buckets or baskets, that we get to make sure that all of our equipment is secured in a space that the dogs don't go into. That securing it doesn't just mean putting it on a shelf or putting it away or laying it down, but that it's really set aside. And whether it's, you know, a little stand aside shed that you have outside that you can get at like a Home Depot or a home development store that you just put the equipment in and lock it in, or a closet or an area that has a gate or a door or some sort of fencing that the animals can't get over. You know, because a rake put away the wrong way can also be a bad thing for a dog.
Yeah.
I'd be interested, are there any groomers on here that can share any, you know, kind of advice on how they keep their boarding or their grooming salons a bit cooler? I can't imagine like a grooming salon in Vegas with the humidity that would be caused inside because of the water and stuff. Like, I'm not sure who's on the call, so I'm.
Yeah, Rachel, you might still be with your client. I know that she had to mute because she's with her client, but she mentioned she was a groomer. Any other groomers that are on the call today?
Yeah, I'm grooming dogs.
Oh, great. Who's this?
This is Dirk.
That's
Yeah, Dirk.
How you doing?
Good.
Good. I don't have any problem with it in the building I'm in. You got a big block building and we got air conditioning and exhaust fans. So it really doesn't get hot or too damp in here. Now we're in Northwest Ohio, so it doesn't, we get hot days, but it's not like in the South or in the desert.
There was a post on Facebook, I think it was yesterday, somebody was asking how they keep their facility cool because they have in their location, there were several others that commented about, you know, kind of that storefront, like windows all the way along the front of their facility. So their lobby just gets like sweltering hot. So anyway,
We don't have that. Yeah, we don't have that. The windows aren't that big. So the building itself, it takes care of it. You know, everything is working. The air conditioning is working. The exhaust fans are working. So I don't really have that problem.
Great. Yeah, and just in the simplest terms, I know that we always used to, I always used to look at this, but just shade alone can lower the temperature 10 to 15 degrees. So having plenty of shade in the play yards. Any other ideas from anyone? Rick, I think you had your hand up. Was there something that you wanted to say? I saw your hand up earlier, but now it's not. I think it was Rich. But anything else that people wanted to add on the topic of heat safety?
Yeah, one other thing that we, I guess, do for the team to keep them cool and everything too, and the dogs, we'll have like frozen berries and stuff for the dogs, or have popsicles for the team, or cool drinks like Gatorade, Powerade water, all of that good stuff.
Yeah. Yeah, so there we go again with the two things that go hand in hand, keeping them cool and keeping them happy. And I think, you know, part of keeping hot people happy is keeping them cool, right? To have a little bit of relief there. Thank you. I think that was you, Nicole. How about anybody else? I heard somebody else chime in at the same time.
It's Jamie. I was going to kind of say the same thing as Nicole, just having the humans and the dogs eating or intaking something that's different. So instead of liver treats that most of us are usually conditioned to use, you know, if we're working with the dogs or whatever, instead of liver treats in the summer, use cucumbers, apples, watermelon, that sort of thing. And that's something that both, again, humans and canines can enjoy as well. So just adding in that little bit of extra refreshment, and it's delicious as well.
Love that.
I don't disagree, Jamie, but I swear to God, if I showed up with a fruit basket instead of freezies at my daycare, my staff would kill me. I'm fairly certain they would just hang me out to dry. Here, have
I
an
don't
apple.
want cantaloupe.
No, I gotta say, I would get in as much trouble because I am directly across the street from Dairy Queen. So you can imagine what my, some days my staff's like, I think the puppies need the pup freeze things from Dairy Queen. I'm like, really? Is it really the puppies that need that?
Yeah, that's awesome.
Hey, there was something really interesting that we talked about on the IBPSA Thrive group the other day, and now I have to look it up. But there's a company in the United States that makes dog ice cream.
Mhm.
So let's now, combine number one and number two. If you were to do this doggy ice cream, and you can order it, I guess, into a powder, and you can make it at home.
Oh, okay.
But that might be a great, I think it was called Pupcake, pupcake.com.
Yeah, they're called pup cakes.
Yeah.
I think it's the same thing that Dairy Queen has, and they box them up for you in the whole 9 yards, But
you could sell that as an add-on service, like today's going to be ice cream day or whatever, for $3 or $5 or whatever it is. Like you can have your dog have a, whatever flavored ice cream or something like that. So I've seen that go really, we have not done that necessarily. We might try it this year, but a lot of my consulting clients do the special treat for $5 type of thing. And usually they sell out like in the first 20 dogs that come through the door. So from an add-on revenue standpoint, I think it's something that we're going to try this year.
That's great. I do see a few hands up. If you, I have unmuted you, but you have to unmute yourself as well. So if you want to say something, just unmute yourself and just shout it out there.
I wanted to add that we used to offer beef bones as an add-on, and we've switched to broth. And so we make them into ice cubes, and we have paw print shaped trays. So, they get a little bowl of a few of these, and it's just kind of fun. And of course the dogs like it because it's colder. It's also low sodium, I might add.
Yeah. Oh, great. And Barbara, is that something that you charge for there?
Yeah, we charge $5, and actually it's we don't really use it for the extra revenue, but it is a lot of extra revenue because one carton will fill I think it's 8 trays.
Yeah.
Wow.
That's great. And you definitely want to charge for these things because number one, we're here to have a good time and for the dogs to have a good time, but also to make a living and to be able to pay our employees. But keep in mind, it takes the staff time to do these things, giving these things out. So we absolutely want to charge for those types of things.
We started doing these kind of popsicles out of bone broth. We use a Primal Pet bone broth that we pour into an ice cube tray, then put saran wrap over the top of the tray and poke a little hole in it. And then for the stick of the popsicle, we use little tiny pieces of bully stick.
Oh, nice.
And so it's literally like a popsicle of bone broth and with like a little chewy treat attached to it. And the dogs just love it. The dogs just love it.
Yeah, and then do you take pictures, post that on social media? How do you let
We take a ton of pictures. We put it in our Instagram story. We do funny little pictures with frames and send it to the owners.
Yeah.
And there was one day where we did it the first day, and it was just for fun. I was like, I had like an extra container of bone broth. I'm like, I need to use it anyway. Let's just do this. And every single owner who saw the picture with their pup was like, yeah, just add that on to my bill. So they're like, great, what other treats do you have? It's great. So
right. Yeah, that's fantastic. And so I think this is a great lead into the add-on services, whether it's for lodging dogs or daycare dogs or whatever you want it to be. But let's move over there. And one of the things we've talked about quite a bit at these IBPSA best practices was this idea of these homemade treats. Why don't we start there? What other homemade treats besides the beef broth do people offer?
Hello, my name is Kristen. I'm the owner of Scarlett. Hello.
Hi.
This is kind of cheating because this is not even something I do here, but it's something I've seen another place do. So they will take watermelon. I think Jamie or somebody was mentioning about watermelon, but they'll take watermelon and use like a cookie cutter shape of a bone. And so they stamp out the watermelon into the shape of a bone and then I guess freeze it. And they take these slow motion videos of the dogs eating them. And they are funny videos because they're done in slow motion. So you see the dog's eyes get really big or just goofy videos. And then they will post those on their social media. So that's not actually my idea or something we do here, but I saw it and I liked it. And I thought, okay, that's pretty clever. I don't know, if I was a customer, I probably wouldn't pay $5 for my dog to eat a treat. But if it got a funny slow motion video with it, I might be suckered into doing it, I think.
In all honesty, I wouldn't be able to necessarily personally pay for a lot of the things that we charge for that people buy hand over fist. So you never know.
You never know.
I have something to add to that because I no longer own a pet care center. So now I take my dog to a pet care center. And some of the things that I thought that about, I said, I will not charge my customers for cuddle time or story time. That's ridiculous. It's so stupid. And now that I'm bringing my dog to a place, I'm like, do you offer story time? Do you offer turn down service? I want that for my dog. So never, because I felt the same exact way, but now that I'm on the other side of things, I really love having those options and I would totally pay for that. So that's just my 2 cents as a pet parent these days.
Yeah, one of the things the dog gurus always say is don't tell people where to spend their money.
Yeah.
Give them the options. One of our really successful add-ons in the summertime, people will choose our stay and play package or whatever, but they'll say if it's cool enough to do daycare, that's great. And if not, substitute daycare with a walk in. We have a big wooded area, so they can go for a walk in the woods on the cooler forest floor and where it's all shaded. So and we charge the same for both. So that turned out to be a really good kind of revenue operating idea. So if you have a local park with trees or something that you could do walks on, that might be a good idea as well from a revenue generation standpoint.
One other thing to consider, this is again as my perspective from the pet parents, is I think a lot of places have lots of options for active dogs. I have an older dog, he's 12. And I don't find that there's a lot of options for him. So I think that's also something to consider is, that cuddle time or that story time might feel awkward or might feel weird to charge for, but it's the things that pet parents of older dogs are looking for. I want some one-on-one attention, but he's not going to chase a tennis ball. He's not going to go to daycare, go for a walk. So just something to keep in mind.
Our story time is our second best add-on service as far as sellers, and predominantly with the senior dogs recovering from surgery, or first-time dogs. A lot of people want, if their dog's first day, their first night or whatever, to do a story time. And it's our second best seller.
That's great. Ellen, I see you have your hand up. Just shout it out there if you can.
Okay, so this is a little bit long because this is kind of involved in Stephanie. I know that I owe you a webinar and I'm getting there, but I want to talk a minute about our Canine Care Camp / Learning Pods program, because I'm getting to the space now where this is becoming much more popular. I'm really moving forward with it. It's our kids program. So, and since we're talking about add-ons, the way that it works, since I'm certified in animal therapy, it gives me all the credentialing to be able to say to folks, we've cherry picked dogs. What we do is we close our facility to regular daycare. And we pick dogs that we know will work for the kids that we have, the age groups that we have. And then we have kids come in and they do a 4-hour camp with us, 4 to 5 hour, depending on how long lunch is and how old they are. And if they're younger kids, we do activities that are centered around the educational piece, more of math, reading, writing, and we have activities structured for that. The older kids are more of a dog trainer for the day, and they do more hands-on work with the dogs. So I just finished my school year, and I did 2nd grade, 5th grade, and then we have in the middle school, our dog trainer for the day is so popular. They have this thing called a mini course, and that's one of the things they can sign up for. And it is full with 27 kids within the first 20 minutes of it opening to be signed up for. So I'm getting paid for this. So that's number one. That's great. I'm in the school system and it's working well. But I have to tell you, because you all are the only people who are going to appreciate as much as my staff and I did, that the last time we did our older kids, and they work with the dogs, but it culminates in one day we walked 22 kids and 15 dogs. The second day we walked 26 kids and 19 dogs. We walked down our main street, through crossing streets. It was amazing. And the kids walked these dogs on leads. And, of course we had our staff, we had plenty of staff to do this. It was amazing, you guys. And it was so rewarding for the dogs and for the people. That we have dog parents that ask me specifically, when is camp? When can we do camp? I've secured a contract with the Boys and Girls Club. So every Wednesday, that is like, I'm sort of doing this hybrid dog 2.0 thing, because every Wednesday I have 26 kids now all summer long. So I'm really excited about where we're headed. But oh my gosh, it's great for the dogs and so I'm listening to all these things, and to speak to you, Rachel, and your senior dog, that's one of the favorite activities of the kids. Is I'm like, now this dog doesn't go very far and doesn't want to go very far, and you don't want to be around a whole lot of dogs, but you know what if we could you read a book? If you're younger, if you're a little older, it's, let's talk about how we brush and what do we need to do, and then it's 2 kids to a dog, and it's amazing. It's just amazing.
That's a great story. And I'm the webinar coordinator, so I will have to get after you.
Well, I actually have, I'm actually in the negotiating a proposal with another school district in the lower 48, because I don't have enough population to make this work, but I'm actually looking at opening specifically an animal therapy center where we do a lot of that. And so I want to be able to come back to you guys, because, I will tell you that my dog was like, if I have to take one more walk with a kid, I'm shooting myself in the foot. I'm just going to bite someone. I don't care who it is, but not really. But all of the dogs were exhausted. Like one of my dog parents said, boy, I don't know what you did at daycare today, but holy cow, my dog was exhausted today.
Yeah, that's so great. And, and then not to mention building, the future generation of animal lovers and animal advocates. I just love that.
Well, and the trick of it is we do a survey before the kids come, right when they get here, and then when they end. And the irony is, if you look at my statistics, it says that kids are really excited when they get here, and then they're depressed as all get out when they leave, because they're sad when they leave here. But the reality is, that's such a great lesson for kids, that it's okay to be sad about something. When it's good, you're sad that it ends, and that being sad is not the end of the world. It's okay to be sad sometimes.
Yeah, that's great. Thank you for sharing that, Ellen. Fantastic. Yeah. What a creative idea.
Yeah, well, it's creative, and now I'm getting paid for it. So now it's creative and fun.
Exactly. And you never know, maybe you're grooming a few future employees for yourself too. That's the thing.
And I cannot tell you how many kids came up to me, how old do you have to be to work here? I was like, 52. So you got a ways to go, sister. Don't come back.
Fantastic. So what, any questions for Ellen, or anything that anybody wants to add for add-on services? What else do we have out there? How can we make an extra few bucks and have the pups have a better time? Yeah.
My name is Rich. I'm calling with Canine Resorts in Cherry Hill, New Jersey.
Yeah, great.
We are not allowed to use, our facilities don't use baby pools anymore, splash pools, just for the safety concerns of the pools flipping over or things like that. So for whatever reason, we're not using them anymore. We have switched over to some splash pads, which I've purchased, and they're okay, and visually they look great when I do slow motion videos and things like that. But they don't last long because between nails and claws, the dogs make little work of them.
Yeah.
And I find that Amazon loves me in the summer because I'm buying them. Does anybody have any other solution for something that's a little tougher that I could use? I thought about just getting a hose and just drilling holes in a hose and throwing that out there because it's probably cheaper, and letting the hose run with water just shooting out of it all over the place.
Yeah, some
But
sort of sprinkler should probably be a little bit tougher. I mean, at like the hardware store, they make some really like hard metal ones that the dogs have not destroyed in like 5 years. So
I was just looking for something that was a little more cutesy, that people would eat up a little bit more. But they've been having a hose or just having a sprinkler out there, and I do have those things already. I do have a sprinkler already, but I was kind of looking for something that to advertise. I've got it's sprinkler day. It's splash pad day sounds a little bit better when you're advertising something like that.
Yeah, yeah. Anybody
Thank you.
have ideas? I know that there's splash pads that are installed. You're looking at quite an investment there.
We actually have one of those. It was part of the original design of our facility, and it's not a small undertaking. It's plumbing and concrete and cool decking and keeping it clean and keeping the nozzles from not getting jammed. I mean, so it's definitely costly, but it's been a great value for us. It's also been great on water saving, which was kind of the reason why we went that route instead of a pool.
As kind of a budget option idea, there's something called the Crazy Daisy sprinkler. I think it's by Fisher Price. You can just get it at like Target or Amazon, Walmart, whatever. It's like $30. It looks like a big, like a daisy, and it you stake it into the ground and you hook it up to a hose and it waves back and forth. And it's more of like the cutesy option at a very low price point. So a little more exciting than like a soaker hose or something. You may only get a month's use out of it, but it's $30. You get some good Instagram pictures, and the dogs really do like it.
Yeah, that's kind of the route I was thinking too. Thank you for sharing that. Is looking at the kids section of the toy store, Amazon, for sprinklers. I just did a quick search on that. That might be, like you said, might not be so durable, but in terms of photo ops, it could be good. Great suggestion.
I know that PetSmart sells often, usually during their seasonal time, they sell like fire hydrant sprinklers and stuff like that, which is a little bit more, I don't know how sturdy they are, especially for, more than 1 or 2 dogs, but it's a little bit nicer than a regular sprinkler. It looks nicer, but I haven't seen them in a while. I haven't looked for them, but that's also another option.
Great.
Our guys really like the push pedal that the dogs step on and shoots up water.
Very cool. Where do you get that, Stephanie?
I think we get it online, like at Amazon or whatever, but they learn to hit it and it sprays a thing of water. You just got to make sure that the dogs take turns so one dog isn't ingesting too much water. But we're out there with them anyway, so it's easy to kind of call them off and interact with them or whichever. But they learn pretty quickly to jump on the thing and it shoots the water, and it's pretty funny to watch.
Cool. Yeah, so there's another option. Terry Jo, I see you have your hand up. You can unmute yourself if you wanted to ask a question or say something.
Yeah, so that company that makes the bone-shaped dog pools out of that truck bed liner stuff, they now have a pool that has built-in sprinklers. So it's like its own portable water pad. Underneath that lip, it's built in, and they have little chutes so the water can either mist or spray upwards. So you just plug it right into a garden hose, and it's its own pool, plus it's a splash pad. So I just got mine in the mail last week. It got delivered. And then they also have paw-shaped ones now, but the Bones is the only ones that have the sprinklers built in.
I
Terry,
love
what is
that.
the name of the company who does that again?
Yeah, let me Google it here quick. I think
You
it's
put the
dog
link-
pools.
Yeah, did you put the link in the chat? But yeah, it's dog pools .shop, is that what you have?
.com, I think. Here, I'm
Yeah.
just trying to Google it quick. Nope, that's not it. I'll find it and I'll put it in the link here.
I was gonna say, Rich, I wonder if some of these companies that make these pools and stuff wouldn't have a material or something that you could buy from them to do a more sturdier slip and slide. And if they don't, what a great way to encourage them to make something.
Yeah, these are very cool. Thank you. Thank you for sharing that, Terry Jo.
Did you find it? It's dogpools.shop. Yep.
Yeah, dogpools.shop. And then Stephanie has also put in the link to her water pedal there. Oh my gosh, so cute. Oh no, my credit card is going to go way up after this call. These are such great ideas. Oh, awesome. Awesome. And Stephanie, maybe get to dogshop.com. We set up an affiliate link for sharing these great ideas.
I'm looking at it right now. Very cool.
Oh man, that's awesome. Yeah, good. Anything else when it comes to heat safety add-ons? What do people have?
Just we do the frozen bucket thing here too. Like when we put like toys and things like that into a bucket of water and then put it in the deep freeze, and on a really hot day, just kind of put the big chunk of ice throughout the daycare yard for them to kind of chew at and lick at, so that they're not ingesting a bunch of ice.
Yep. Yeah, no, that I love that idea. And Stephanie, is that something that you charge for, or is that mainly because it's kind of a group activity? Or do you just put it out there for?
That's
fun?
We do that in our enrichment program.
Okay, got it. Yeah, and then somebody shared in the chat, Megan, thank you, that they're phasing their enrichment program into their lodging guests as well. So sometimes we just think about enrichment for daycare dogs, but Megan mentions it's something that you can incorporate into lodging, things that fit paw, stretching, brain games, things like that. So thanks for adding that to the conversation too, along with the pools. Good.
If you like misters, to sell these little PVC pieces that have the nozzles in them, you can glue them into like I think like a 3/4 inch pipe. You can make all kinds of configurations. You can hang it, you can lay it on the ground, you can drill holes in it, so water shoots out. So
Yeah.
we made a lot of those things for the dogs to run through and keep cool.
Yeah, and those are those are so great. I shared that statistic earlier about shade brings down the temperature 10 to 15 degrees. I tried to Google it a few minutes ago, but a mister can bring it down, even cooler than that. So misters are such a great idea. And the good news is the dogs don't get soaked by them too. So they tend to stay clean, or they're dry if they unexpectedly get picked up. Thank you for sharing that. While we're here, let me just offer the CEU code in case people have to hop off a bit early, but the CEU code for today, it's worth 1 CEU, is C as in cat, 220052. So it's CC 220052 is the CEU code for today. Thank you. The live attendance is what will make you eligible for that CEU code. So you can see here that that's what these sessions are all about, is sharing these great ideas. I think the one area that we didn't touch on too much, how about ideas for keeping the team sane and happy? We've touched upon it here and there, but how do you keep them having a good time there in the summer when it gets so busy? What ideas do you guys have? Don't forget to unmute yourself. Yep, go ahead.
Oh, I'll share an idea. I don't know if it's specific to the summer, but I've started doing this thing where I just sort of randomly scatter things around the facility. So like on the back of the jug of cleaning solution, I'll write something like, thanks for mopping the floors, or I'll just write little things like that. And people really do seem to like them. Like they're not monetary prizes. They're not like, they don't get anything. It's just like a little note that says like, thanks for doing this, or I appreciate this, or I'll write a little note like on one of our whiteboards where feeding instructions are, and at the bottom it will say like, I love working with Lauren because she has funny jokes or something. And I've noticed over the past couple months, other people have started adding like their own little secret notes in places. So it makes it kind of fun. Like you never know, when you're going to grab the shop vac, are you just going to get the shop vac, or are you going to, get also a little note saying hello or thanking you when you go do it. And I couldn't decide if it was like cheesy and stupid or if it would actually be good, but they seem to be, oh, here comes some huskies down the hallway. It's going to be loud, but I'm going to mute myself real quick, but that's my idea.
Oh, I love it. I love it. One I just thought of is you should put a little note on the paper towel holder underneath the paper towels and say, thanks for putting a new roll on, because that would definitely catch their attention if they actually took that extra step and didn't just take the last paper towel roll. What a great idea, and a low cost idea too. Love it.
We usually do a team event every year. Depending, like we always do one after the summer rush to make sure that everybody stays sane and doesn't hate each other. But during the summer, like on a Sunday afternoon or whatever, we usually take the team out on the boat and have a boat barbecue day and take them tubing or water skiing or, whatever. We just have access to that here, but doing some type of event, a team building type of event is not always a bad idea. Like if you live somewhere where you could take them all to, Top Golf, or you could take them all bowling, or, something that they can laugh with each other is helpful.
Right. And just be normal people, not pet care center workers, it's nice for them to see each other as a normal person. Great idea. Feel free to add in anything else. One thing I think it's also a low cost idea, but you tend to get more reviews in the summer because you have more transient people or people that don't use your services every day. So just be on the lookout for your online reviews. And when you have positive ones, maybe print them out, post them, because a lot of your team members aren't looking at your online reviews, but they're getting a ton of praise there. So that's a low cost idea that I had. Anybody else here in the final minutes for
So sometimes what I do when I'm going shopping, I'll just pick a different employee each time and say, okay, come on, let's go get the shopping done. Let's pick up the Murphy's oil soap and the blah, 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 and whatever else we need. And you can pick all the snacks this time. And so I say, you have this much money, so you pick snacks for the next 3 weeks or whatever, pick what you want, go to town. And they love that they all get this input, and then I don't feel bad because if I, some of it, I'm like, I wouldn't eat that if you paid me, but okay. They're getting what they want, but it's, and I get a little bonding time with each one of my employees, which is really nice.
Yeah. Yeah, I love that. Food is always a good way to boost morale, isn't it?
Food's always a winner.
Definitely.
Well, and I think too that praise is important. Like after we did our camp, my 2 younger employees ran the popcorn station. So they were doing all the naming, blah, blah, blah. And just randomly at the end of it, my one employee said, okay, so she said to the kids, so what did you find was hardest about working with these dogs? And what did you find was easiest? And that was all on her own. So I made a huge deal. I said, that is exactly what we're supposed to be doing. You're catching on to how this works and you're teaching and just giving them that extra praise. All my young staff, I gave a really big shout out to about how they're really stepping into this program. And I'm really, really proud of them. And that made a huge difference for them.
Yeah. And it really is, because it's so easy to criticize and critique, and, that kind of comes natural, but they really do appreciate, like that person that shared the funny notes and things like that. They really do appreciate that stuff, and just the acknowledgement, because they are working so hard every day. Anything else? Did everybody? get a-
Yeah, I wanted to talk a little bit about our appreciation program, because I've never worked in a place that has such an amazing appreciation program for the staff. I'm fairly new here. I've been here about 5 months, and we use Gusto. And there's, I think it's the Gusto program that allows us to do that. But when somebody starts, they get a card, saying, hey, welcome, that sort of thing, that everybody can sign electronically. We have a jot form that people can fill out. It takes 5 seconds. They can do it from their phones, and they can just appreciate somebody else. It's public, everybody sees it on Slack. So that's a way to appreciate a whole bunch of people, in 5 minutes at the end of your shift. And then we also have red ticket drawings, which are just little coupon card, just tickets that you would get, at Disneyland when they had tickets. You just little tickets. And so if they don't want it to be public, if it's an inside joke, they can write that, and then they drop that in a bucket. And then at our monthly meetings, we have awards for the person who gave most appreciations, the one who received them. And then also we do a random drawing of a red ticket, and whoever wrote the red ticket gets an award. And then of course we have employee of the month. So there's just rewarding props every day that I see going back and forth between staff. And once in a while management gets one too. So I just love that program here.
I love it. There's so many things I love about that, because it's encouraging them, to appreciate the other people on the team, and they're giving encouragement, receiving encouragement, and it's not all falling on management. So that is fantastic. I love it.
Yeah, and actually at the orientation, I actually show them how to use that form, and I have them complete one appreciation at the end of their first shift. So we're trying to make sure that everybody gets in the swing of it, early on, because not everybody's great at that sort of thing, that technology. So we make sure they understand it on day one.
Great. Thank you for sharing. Unless anybody has anything else to add, I think that's a great way to end. Anything else, last minute things that people want to chime in on? We really appreciate you taking the time out today to share your ideas. It's been a great best practices session, so we'll look forward to the next one. If you have any suggestions for our next best practices session, feel free to email us. We love taking ideas from our community members, so you can just email PAC. If you have a suggestion for the next one, we're totally open to that. If you missed the CEU code for your live attendance today, it is CC220052. All right, thank you.
Can we remind everybody too about the new portal that was launched this year? If you don't know about it, on the PAC website, you can track your CEUs right in that portal. And when you have enough, you can print it out or download it. So if you haven't logged on to that portal yet, now might be a good time to enter your first CEU code.
Ooh, fantastic. Thank you for bringing that up, Stephanie. So please do check that out. If you need any assistance with it, reach out to PAC. We'll be happy to get you going, but it's pretty simple. So check that out. And it's a nice, easy way for you to track those CEUs. Don't have to keep track of all these little papers and things like that. Thank you, Stephanie. Anything else from the board that I'm missing? All right, what a great session. Really appreciate your attendance, and stay in touch and look forward to the next one. Happy summer.
Thanks, Jess.
Thanks,
Thank
Jess.
you.